and welcome back to Alice Talks Football for another transfer live stream. And we're back at the 7:55 p.m. slot because there's no Euro games on today. And it's quite weird because I'm so used to having football on every night that a Sunday without football, look, it feels weird. But you know what? Wednesday night, England are going to beat Denmark and they're going to go to the final. But lots to talk about in today's video. I will address the England game. We'll talk about the Luke Shaw masterclass. We'll talk about Sancho. We'll talk about Maguire. We'll talk about England towards the end of the live stream. But we're here with the Manchester United news. So please hit that like button, subscribe down below, share this video and all of that. And of course, we're going to be talking about Varane. Now Sancho's done, Varane is the new Sancho right now. We're going to be talking about Varane. Niall Kane has come in with the early chat asking me to announce Varane. And look, if the deal was completely done, I would announce Varane right now. But I can't announce a deal that's not been done yet. But apparently terms have been agreed, and a big update on Varane to Manchester United from reliable sources. The Madrid Zone do this thing where they use the moon emoji to tell you how reliable the source is in regard to Real Madrid, and the Spanish news is. So they've given us some tier 1 updates about Varane to Real Madrid, Varane to Manchester United, that look very, very promising. So I'm going to pop up with the Raphael Varane news. We'll start with that. And then we'll talk a little bit about the CAMAVINGA situation, any updates on that, the whole CDM situation at Man United. What's the latest on United signing CDM? Ronaldo return, what is the possibility of that? I believe Simon Stone came out and said some things regarding a possible Ronaldo return. However, they said the price is quite high, so it would depend on outs. Luke Shaw masterclass, you know, all of that stuff we'll be talking about. Daniel James set to go. Ted Menget and Brandon Williams on loan. Dalot future still not certain. Could he stay at United if AC Milan don't put in a bid and more? But I think we've got to start off with the Raphael Varane news. I think that's the most exciting news to come out. So let's talk about Raphael Varane to Manchester United. Let me give you the latest on that. And then what I'll do is I'll read and reply to some of you guys' live chat. So a source called Mario Cortegana, I probably said that wrong, but according to the Madrid Zone, tier 1 source when it comes to Real Madrid news. So Mario Cortegana says that Real Madrid want to renew Varane, and this track is still alive, but it's a weak track. If he does not renew, he must leave the club before September, as the club do not want to risk losing on a free. So he said Real Madrid want Varane, but they believe that it's not possible. He has to leave the summer if he's not going to renew. He also said that Real Madrid would agree to sell Varane for 70 million euros, but Manchester United was thinking of an operation where 40 million euros plus variables. So it'll probably be 50 million euros because I think they'll just take any money they can get. He also says that Varane is listening to all parties right now, and Manchester United are the most well-positioned. And he said the economic factor is secondary for Varane. He wants to be part of a powerful project that excites him day by day. He's drawn to the experience of a new league. So this guy is apparently like a tier 1 journalist when it comes to Manchester United. Well, not Manchester United, when it comes to Real Madrid news. And what Mario Cortegana basically said is that Real Madrid want Varane, but Man United and Varane are already negotiating. He said Real Madrid are unable to renew Varane's contract. He said that Varane is in talks with Manchester United. He's listening to all parties, and Manchester United are very well positioned to sign Varane, which kind of links up what the Manchester Evening News said today. Look, the Manchester Evening News get information from Manchester United. The Manchester Evening News says Raphael Varane is keen to move to Old Trafford, but a final decision will be made once the holidays are over in a few weeks. Madrid have accepted the fact that he's most likely to leave, given Manchester United permission to discuss personal terms with him. So Man United are discussing personal terms with Varane. There was a report that came out yesterday saying that Manchester United and Varane have agreed personal terms. We know Fabrizio Romano said personal terms won't be a problem between Manchester United and Varane. And some very, very reliable journalists are saying, look, Real Madrid would love to keep Varane, but I think they've just admitted that they've got to sell him. It's very unlikely that Varane will stay at Real Madrid, and Manchester United are the favourites to sign Raphael Varane. So very, very positive news regarding Varane to Manchester United. Like what Fabrizio Romano said 2 days ago, and I talked about this in yesterday's live stream, is Fabrizio Romano, obviously, he's told us time and time again, Varane is Manchester United's first choice centre-back. United will go all out for Varane. Once Sancho's done, United will go all out for Varane. We know that from Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano also said that Man United will pay Varane's wages, and he said personal terms won't be an issue with Varane, as Varane wants to leave Real Madrid, and he likes the idea of a new challenge and would be open to moving to the Premier League. So we know from the global transfers of Fabrizio Romano that United are going to go all out for Varane. Varane wants to leave. Man United, personal terms, that won't be an issue. Other sources saying personal terms is done. Romano has not confirmed personal terms is done. However, he said it wouldn't be a problem. So, if it's done, it's done, because he said it wouldn't be a problem. Fabrizio Romano also confirmed that Man United had made contact with Real Madrid, but we haven't made a bid yet. United are convinced personal terms won't be an issue. Varane priority. All of that, which kind of links into what's been said. So everything that's been said by these tier 1 journalists are basically saying Man United and Varane are in contact, they're in talks, personal terms won't be an issue. And some sources, I think ABC Cortez was the first report to say that apparently Manchester United have reached a pre-agreement with Raphael Varane and personal terms have been agreed, a 5-year contract worth £12 million per year, but no other sources have really been quoting that. But a few sources that aren't tier one, but like semi-reliable sources, have said that Man United have agreed personal terms with Varane in principle. And look, to be fair, look, we've been told personal terms won't be an issue. So look, I'm sure we're in talks with Varane. I'm sure we'll pay his wages. I'm sure we've agreed personal terms, or we will agree personal terms. But the indication right now on Raphael Varane is Real Madrid want to keep him. They've realised he wants to leave. Man United are leading the race for Varane. We know Varane won't go to PSG now because PSG have Ramos. United are going to go all out for Varane. Look, they can agree a deal with Varane. Varane will want to come. All of that. It's just can Man United and Real Madrid agree on a price. But I think, this was the situation with Sancho last summer. It was like everything was done. Sancho wanted to come. Could Man United and Dortmund agree on a price? And we couldn't. However, Varane with 1 year left on his deal, Real Madrid will have to sell him. They won't want to risk losing on a free. So I think Man United and Real Madrid will agree on a price. And I think that is the situation. If personal terms aren't an issue, it's can Man United and Real Madrid agree on a price for Raphael Varane. And I think because he's got 1 year left on his deal, Real Madrid would have to budge and go in for a much cheaper price. So that is sort of more the latest on Raphael Varane to United. Someone asked if we gave up on Jack Grealish. Look, Jack Grealish was a #1 priority last summer. Like summer 2020, it was Grealish, Bellingham, and Sancho that are top 3 priorities. But now we've got Sancho. At the end of the day, as much as I'd love Jack Grealish at Manchester United, we definitely need a centre back and a CDM more. And all of that. Someone says Ronaldo can't come because the JS7 wants the shirt. Ronaldo, beard-wise, can't come back. Well, there's rumours about Ronaldo coming back and a Ronaldo-Pogba swap deal because that's the only way Juventus could afford Ronaldo. However, because Ronaldo's been priced at £36 million by Juventus, all the reliable sources saying Man United are unlikely to go for Ronaldo unless they could get like a good deal in outs. I think it's more, there's potential for a Ronaldo return, but it depends on like how much money we get in outs, and I don't think it's actually a priority. And Fabrizio Romano did say, look, there's nothing between Man United and Ronaldo right now. He said that a couple of weeks ago. So look, I don't think Ronaldo to Man United is anything super to keep an eye on. Look, right now Sancho's done. Varane is the deal we are working on, and I think when Varane's done, we might look at other players and stuff. My phone keeps bleeping. Let me just ignore that. Let me just put my phone on mute. But it's literally Sancho's done. Then it will be Varane, and then I think we'll have that one more signing. Could it be Ronaldo? I'm not too sure. I think it would be more we focus on the CAMAVINGA or the CDM situation. We will touch on the United CDM situation, or we go for a Trippier. But as we were told today, Atletico Madrid are not going to budge on their €40 million asking price for Kieran Trippier. So I think it's very, very unlikely that United get Trippier at this rate. I think Ronaldo's more likely than Trippier. But I think, it could be a CDM for that third and final position once we get the Varane deal over the line. But the latest is on Varane that, personal terms have been agreed and all of that. And I think, the possibility of Varane coming to Manchester United, I believe, is quite high. I don't want to say Varane's going to happen, but, he's got 1 year left on his deal. He clearly wants to leave Real Madrid. He wants to join Man United. If Man United and Real Madrid can agree on a price for Varane, the deal will happen. And, Real Madrid can't fuck about with us. They can't do a Dortmund and say €70 million or nothing. We can get Real Madrid to lower that price. And look, to be fair to Murta, he's done a good job with Sancho, and he said, we're not here to fuck about this transfer window. We want to get the business we want done. We've got Sancho done. I think United want to go and get Varane done. I think that's the indication that we're not here to fuck about this summer. So very, very interesting news regarding Raphael Varane to Manchester United. Any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat and all of that. Thoughts on James Basuma swap deal? I've read nothing about a James Basuma swap deal, but look, if we could get a James Basuma swap deal 100% any day of the week. I love Daniel James. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he works hard. I think he plays, he goes all out. He always tries his best. I think he's Premier League quality player, but I don't think he's Man United quality. There's a lot of players in this Man United squad, I've said time and time again, that I do really like, but I don't think they're the quality we need. They're good enough for the Premier League, but they're not good enough to win your Premier League title. And Daniel James, for me, is one of those players. I think he's a good squad player. I think he works hard. He's got a terrific attitude. But would I trade Daniel James for Basuma 100% in a heartbeat? Look, Basuma was linked to Arsenal, but that did die down. So Basuma is a likely option. And I think, we could say Daniel James and 20 million, and maybe we could get Basuma that way. And, the only situation is, Man United getting a midfielder depends on outs. It's Sancho, it's Varane, and then United want a midfielder once we get Varane or a backup right back. But obviously, Deleu's future uncertain. I think midfielder comes before backup right back. Man United want a midfielder once they get the Varane deal done. But if Donny leaves, we might get a midfielder. If Pogba leaves, we'll definitely get a midfielder. But, you know, I think the midfield depends on how much money you raise in out. So if you get 40 million for Martial, if you get 40 million for Dean Henderson, boom, you can get a midfielder. But the indication is that Martial's going to stay, Dean Henderson's going to stay, it's going to be De Gea to leave. So, yeah, I think Dan James with Basuma could be like a really, really smart move, to be fair. And I'd like it to happen, but obviously I've heard nothing about that. But if that's just a question, then I would do it. Why can't Man United just give 45 mil and Varane will be a Man United player? Easy. Well, the thing about the Varane deal is it's not going to be done in the next few days. It's probably going to be done in a week or two because Varane is on his holiday. And I read somewhere that like the Man United are going to try and get this Varane deal done after Varane's holiday. So it's going to take like a week or so. Like I think Man United want to get Varane done before pre-season. Varane wants to join United before pre-season. Pre-season isn't exactly 2 weeks, but you've got to mind it's like 2 days from it really. Pre-season's in less than 2 weeks. So I think this time next week the Varane rumors will really heat up. You know, Varane's probably he's out of the Euros, he's having his vacation. I'd say give it a week and the Varane rumours are going to heat up massively. And this time next week, we'll be watching the Euros final, guys. Like this time next week, we could be watching England about to bring it home. You know, England-Italy is the final I want to see. I think most people want to see England-Italy. And look, Luke Shaw, up for player of the tournament at the moment, was absolutely fantastic. Jack B says the only way Varane doesn't come to Man United is if a third party comes in. Madrid offers stupid money, or in other words, our board have been shit. Yeah, exactly. Look, I think we're in a very, very strong situation to sign Varane. He clearly wants to leave Real Madrid. Look, personal terms have apparently been agreed, or if they haven't been agreed, Fabrizio Romano said it won't be an issue. So Varane wants us. We will pay his wages. You know, we're not here to muck about. I think the only way Man United miss out on Raphael Varane is if, yes, Madrid offer him ridiculous wages. B, someone like Chelsea are like, shit, we haven't signed anyone, swoop in, get Varane, because that would be very, very Chelsea. They, you know, I think we were very close to signing Pedro, and then Chelsea actually got him. So I think B, you know, Chelsea get Varane, or yeah, C, our board just fuck up. But at the end of the day, you know, I think it'll be very, very hard for our board to fuck this one up with, you know, 1 year left on this deal. We can really drive that price down. So I think the only way we don't get Varane is, yeah, if another team swoops in and offers him ridiculous wages. Brozovic transfer news, will he suit our squad? Well, apparently the Brozovic transfer news, I've been told there's nothing in it, to be fair. It's not going to happen, that's what I've heard. MD says we just need one good CDM to win the league, get Basuma for Daniel James. Look, I agree. I think you'd have to pay 20 million and get them Daniel James for Basuma. But you know what? Brighton want Brandon Williams, Brighton want Daniel James, offer them to Brighton and all of that, honestly. We did give up on Jack Grealish and all of that. Don Alice, do you reckon that people are chatting that was about Varane saying he's overrated because he's going to your dead club? Look, to be fair, I don't think Varane's overrated. To win a World Cup, to win a Champions League and all that, you've got to be a good player. You know, he might get carried by Ramos, but you know what? If Varane comes to Man United, everyone's going to say he's shit. Like 3 weeks ago, everyone was like, Sancho has to play for England, and now everyone's saying Sancho's going to be a flop, Sancho's rubbish, Man United never pray for Sancho. It's funny because the funniest thing is Arsenal fans, you know, we paid, what, £2 million more for Jadon Sancho than Arsenal did for Nicolas Pepe, and these Arsenal fans are saying that we're wasting our money on Sancho and all that, but they're just salty, you know, You know, if a player joins United, everyone's going to hate on them. It kind of is what it is. But look, Varane is a good player. Yes, I saw Varane in the Champions League. I didn't think he was brilliant. But look, Maguire's a solid centre-back. We've seen it for England. And I think Maguire and Varane would be a very, very good partnership. And as I said in yesterday's video, if you have Maguire and Varane, you don't need to play McFred to protect them. We only play McFred when Maguire and Lindelof play together. When it's Maguire and Bailly, there's no McFred. When it's Maguire and Axel Twins, there's no McFred. McFred is literally there because Maguire and Lindelof have no pace. And Varane does have pace. So, you know, another good thing of signing Varane is there's no more McFred if you sign Varane. I'd be shocked if Ollie played McFred after signing Varane. Steve says just over a month till the season starts, not long at all. Yeah, United have got to get some business done. I think Varane is going to be something that's going to take a week or two. I think 2 weeks. I think in the next 2 weeks, Varane will be wrapped up and all of that. Apparently, Manchester United have made a €40 million offer plus bonuses for Raphael Varane to Real Madrid, but they want 17 years via Sky Sport. Apparently, we have made an offer for Varane. Varane aren't going to get 70 million. Sorry, Real Madrid aren't going to get 70 million euros for Varane. I think United should go in for 50 million. I think 40 million is a bit cheeky, but United know Varane has 1 year left on his deal. Real Madrid are going to see if they can get 70 million euros for Varane, but I think they're going to have to agree on 50 million euros. But coming out from Sky Sports, apparently Manchester United made a 40 million euro offer just now for Raphael Varane, but Madrid are holding out for 70. Now that's coming through Sky Sport Italia, so do keep an eye on that. But apparently talks are going on for Raphael Varane, which is very, very interesting news. We don't need another striker with Cavani. I agree. There's rumours about Ronaldo, but I think the Ronaldo rumours is very, very unlikely to happen. I don't think United will sign Cristiano Ronaldo. What about stopping Pogba leaving on a free and signing a CDM and a centre to replace him? Look, I agree. I don't want to lose Paul Pogba on a free. It's embarrassing, but Paul Pogba's irreplaceable. There's not one player that can come in and replace Paul Pogba, because on his day, Paul Pogba's the best midfielder in the world. Now, Kevin De Bruyne for me is the best midfielder in the world, but Paul Pogba on his day, there's no one better than him. We saw it for France. Even though they got knocked out to Switzerland, who was the best player? Paul Pogba. He's a fantastic player. And I want to keep Paul Pogba at all costs. But if there's no indication that he's going to sign a contract, you almost have to sell him this summer. But the situation is you can't replace Paul Pogba. To replace Paul Pogba, you need Declan Rice and Jack Grealish. You know, because Jack Grealish can't play in the pivot, but Declan Rice doesn't have the creativity that Pogba has. It's like you need two players to replace Paul Pogba. But the situation is, it's Sancho, it's Varane, and it's one more player this summer. Even if Paul Pogba goes or not, we're not going to sign two midfielders to replace him. It will just be one. Maybe we brought Donny in because we thought we would lose Paul Pogba this summer, and that is the rumour. So I think if we do lose Paul Pogba, we have to go for a CDM and just be like, you know what? Fred next to Casemiro for Brazil looks fantastic. Casemiro is an out-and-out CDM. McTominay, when he plays as a box-to-box, is normally pretty good. Donny, when he played with Matic, who's a CDM, was very, very good. So I think if Paul Pogba goes, you have to get a CDM to replace him. But for me, he's irreplaceable. And the situation I've been told, and the situation we're kind of aware of, is that Man United aren't going to sell Paul Pogba this summer. They're going to risk losing him on a free to see if they can convince him to stay, because they don't want him to go anywhere. And to be fair, like, we don't want Paul Pogba to go, but it is risky of us apparently not selling him this summer. Now, Simon Stone, a very, very reliable journalist, works with the BBC. We all know who Simon Stoney is. He says that Paul Pogba has held talks with Manchester United over extending his contract, which expires next year. Simon Stone says if he doesn't sign, Manchester United risk losing him for nothing in 12 months, or trying to sell him in a depressed market for significantly less than the 89 million they pay for him. But if he does sign, he would almost certainly get a pay rise. So Simon Stone has said United are in talks with Paul Pogba to extend his contract. And I think United are going to risk willing to lose him on a free to see if he'll sign a new contract, but they might have to give Paul Pogba wages to get Paul Pogba very, very high wages to get that done. I think that's the situation. Lingard, Rice, partial swap. Look, I would do that. I would do Lingard plus money for Declan Rice. You know, I would, but the thing about Man United is apparently we only sign a midfielder depending on who leaves. It depends on who leaves Manchester United this summer, and that, you know, if no one leaves Manchester United this summer, like no one plays even Manchester United this summer, it's probably not going to be a CDM unless we can get one on a bargain deal. I think if Donny goes, we'll get a midfielder. If Pogba goes, we'll get a midfielder. If Martial goes, we'll get a midfielder. If Dean Henderson goes, we'll get a midfielder, because we'll all get over 30 million for them. I think I'd love to do Jesse Lingard and Declan Rice cash, but I have a feeling United won't sign Declan Rice. So if Manchester United sign Declan Rice this summer, I will give £100 away on this channel. So if you think there's a chance Man United could sign Declan Rice, I mean, just go subscribe down below to me, because I will generally give £100 away on this channel to one of you guys if we sign Declan Rice, because, you know, I think it's realistic, but I just don't have any belief that United will do it. Just because you spent 80 million on Sancho, we're not going to spend that on Declan Rice. Someone said Varane news. Well, Varane to Manchester United, like, it's not done or anything like that. Like, the deal wasn't done, but apparently personal terms have been agreed. Now, we already knew personal terms wouldn't be an issue. The latest on Raphael Varane to Manchester United is Man United are in contact with Real Madrid. Manchester United are in talks with Varane. Apparently, according to a source called ABC, personal terms have been agreed, and all that. Man United and Varane have agreed on personal terms. We know from Fabrizio Romano, wages, personal terms won't be an issue. So if personal terms are done or not, look, it's not an issue, and all that. Varane wants to leave Real Madrid. Real Madrid want to keep him. Varane wants to leave. Varane wants to come to Manchester United. Manchester United will pay the wages, will agree personal terms with Varane. Varane, Manchester United, that all sorted. Man United and Real Madrid have got to agree on a fee for Raphael Varane, because if Raphael Varane's not going to stay at Real Madrid, they have to sell him. And, you know, PSG can't get him now. They've got Ramos. It's between Man United and Real Madrid to agree a fee on Raphael Varane. Real Madrid wants 70 million euros. Man United want to pay 40 million euros. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if we agreed a deal for 50 million euros in about a week's time. But look, we put in our first bid for Jadon Sancho, way under. 10 days later, we signed them. Look, apparently, according to Sky Sports Italia, we've put in our first bid for Raphael Varane of 40 million euros. So let's say 10 days time, we sign him. My prediction is we sign Varane on the 14th of July. Clip this now, 10 days later, because it's coming out just now from Sky Sports Italia that we have made a bid for Raphael Varane. But apparently personal terms have been agreed, but I'm not sure yet. However, Fabrizio Romano said that Manchester United have not made an official bid. So, you know, I would believe Fabrizio Romano, because he's literally just tweeted that after I said it. But I think 55 million would be probably about the money to get it done. So 50 million pounds. And all of that. But Romano said that there has been no official bid and has debunked the news that's come out of Sky Sports Italia. Then that's just come out right now. And all that. But no bid made, but personal terms might be agreed, but we're waiting for a Romano update and all of that. Please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new to the channel. I do daily Manchester United content on the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. Daily transfer news, live streams. We're talking about Varane a lot over the next week or two, but I assume, you know, we'll get this Varane deal wrapped up in the next 2 weeks. Like in 2 weeks' time, we'll know if we're going to get Varane or not for sure. I think it's likely that we get Varane. The Ronaldo situation is Ronaldo to Manchester United. We keep getting linked to him, but I believe we won't sign Ronaldo. I believe we won't sign Declan Rice, but we could convince Paul Pogba to stay. And as I've said time and time again, if we get Varane and we get Sancho, they're two winners. They're two statement signings. And Paul Pogba will stay at Man United if he believes Manchester United are going to win trophies. So what we've done is we've gone out and we've signed two statement signings. So I think that puts Man United in a really strong position to try and get Paul Pogba to put pen to paper and sign a new contract. And as we know, United are in talks with Paul Pogba to get him to sign a new contract and all of that. Please do put any questions down below. George Kester says it would be a shame to lose a talent like Van der Beek after not using him last season. Look, if we sell Van der Beek, I'll be outraged. Do you know what really frustrates me about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Is, look, I know Van der Beek ain't a winger, but he would rather play Daniel James, Juan Mata, a McTominay who's put 10 stinkers in a row in, a Fred who would put a shocker in over Donny van der Beek. And I like Fred, I like McTominay, I like Daniel James, and I like Juan Mata. But Daniel James, Juan Mata, Fred and McTominay have had a lot of stinkers for Manchester United this season. And Donny van der Beek gets his chance, takes his chance, plays really well. And then all of a sudden we're playing Mata, Fred, Dan James over him. And the situation is I love Donny van der Beek. I think he's a fantastic player. And I think it would be an absolute joke if we sold him this summer because we have not Fred. They're not a good midfield duo. How can Donny not get in a team that has McFred? Like, Ollie, give him a chance because Donny and Matic versus Wolves and Donny and Matic versus Leicester look so much better than McFred in 90% of the games they played together this season because at least when you play Donny and Matic and Donny in that period, we have a bit more expansiveness going forward. And I think an out-and-out CDM and Donny would be fantastic. And I said, look, if we sell Pogba, and I think Pogba's irreplaceable, but if we do sell Pogba, get a CDM and CDM, Donny, Bruno. That is the midfield. Donny and Bruno link up really well. Donny works well with Matic, who's a CDM and a pivot. Matic and Donny better than McTominay and Fred. And I think Donny van der Beek is a player that 100% deserves more game time and should have had more game time at Manchester United. And we shouldn't sell him. Look, if we're going to sell a midfielder, go sell Matic because he's not going to get any better. He's aging. Don't go and sell Donny van der Beek. It would be an absolute joke. Rice deal is not going to happen. How am I going to price him 80 mil? Look, yeah, I don't think Declan Rice to Manchester United will happen. Thank you very much, Amjad, for the super chat. Mata and Grant contract, though. Yes, Juan Mata and Lee Grant have been offered a contract at Manchester United, a contract extension. Look, I think it's a joke. Look, I like Mata. Yeah, but we got Amad Diallo. Why? Well, we've just signed Jadon Sancho. Juan Mata's on over 100k a week, and he barely played last season. Now we signed Jadon Sancho, who gives Mata more competition in his position because he plays as a right mid. And you've got Amad Diallo coming through. And keeping Juan Mata blocks the development of Amad Diallo. And now we've got Jadon Sancho. We're going to have a player on over 100k a week to play 3-4 games max. I think it's an absolute joke that we kept Juan Mata. And look, I don't really care about Lee Grant, but we just signed Tom Heaton. So I'm a bit like, do we need to keep Lee Grant? I'm just taking a quick swig of water. James to Brighton. Well, there is rumours about Daniel James to Brighton. We'll see if that heats up. It's more about what was I going to say? It's basically Brighton have an interest in Daniel James, but there's nothing in it. There's nothing super in it right now. Where do I predict Man United are going to finish? I could not predict till the end of the season. Look, I'm going to predict we sign Sancho, Varane, or one more player. Now, that third player that we sign after Sancho and Varane could be a backup right back. It could be a CDM. I think if it is a CDM, look, if we keep Pogba, we sign Sancho, Varane, and CAMAVINGA, I think we can challenge. I do. I'm going to be very optimistic, and I think we can challenge. If we sign just Sancho and Varane, because we do have McFred, I don't think you can win a Premier League with McFred. However, I would say, you know what, we'll be in the top 4 for sure, maybe second. But it's really hard to predict where Man United will finish next season. I think I'd have to wait until after the transfer window to do any prediction of where Manchester United might finish. Please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football for daily Manchester United transfer news updates. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe to the channel. Daily live streams in the evening, keeping you updated on all the latest transfer news and all of that. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be on pre-season. We'll be playing Derby County, and Jadon Sancho will be wearing a red shirt in 2 weeks' time. So I'm really excited for pre-season, and I can't wait to make videos on how Jadon Sancho does in pre-season, and possibly if we can get Varane done, how Varane does in pre-season, because I'm so happy we got Jadon Sancho before pre-season, so we can actually have a look at Jadon Sancho and see how he's doing for us and stuff. I think that is super, super exciting and all of that. Van der Beek has played for a CDM for Ajax in his last season. Now, exactly, Van der Beek can play in the pivot. A lot of people don't realise that, but let's Google Donny Van der Beek's stats. Van der Beek isn't a backup for Bruno. I think he's more of a backup for Pogba because he's a box-to-box player that can play in a pivot. He's not like a number 8 like Bruno, and a lot of people don't realise that. But if we look at Donny's 18-19 stats, which was the full season for Ajax before COVID, Donny Van der Beek played a lot of games in central midfield. He did play a few games in attacking mid, but he played a lot of games in central midfield. And if you look at the season before Donny signed for Manchester United, again, he played half of his games as a CM and the other half as a sort of 8. But he plays a mix of centre mid, CDM, and all of that. But we do need a CDM. Question, Pogba for Varane swap deal. Look, it's not going to happen. There's no indication that's going to happen because apparently Real Madrid don't really want Paul Pogba and all of that. But look, I think Paul Pogba for Varane swap deal was Real Madrid's win. You know, I think Paul Pogba is a better player and worth more than Raphael Varane. But you know what? Like, I wouldn't complain too much, but I'd say, look, we've taken a loss on that. You know, Pogba wants to downgrade to PSG. He just wants money, not suit United anymore. Replace him and we will win things. Look at Coutinho and Hazard. Look, I think it's Mino Raiola that wants Pogba to go to PSG so he gets a paycheck. I think if we sign Varane and we sign Sancho, so if we can get this Varane deal done, I think we're more likely to convince Paul Pogba to stay at United, because I think if Paul Pogba thinks we're going to win trophies, he'd stay. Look, we lost the Europa League final to Villarreal. You know, if I was a player like Paul Pogba playing for a team that lost the Europa League final to Villarreal, and I've been there 5 years and won nothing in the last 4 years. As sad as it is, as much as I love United, I would probably want to leave. I think Paul Pogba loves Manchester United. I think Paul Pogba would be convinced to stay by high wages. But I think ideally, I think Paul Pogba is a good professional. I think Mino Raiola makes him look bad. And I think Paul Pogba would stay at Manchester United if you believe we were going to win trophies. And it's hard to believe we're going to win trophies with the Glazers. However, you sign Sancho, you sign Varane, you add them to that squad. And I think we can compete for trophies. Please do hit that like button, subscribe down below, and share this video. Is CAMAVINGA overhyped? Look, CAMAVINGA is a very, very good player. He's a young player, but look, he's not English, so I'm not going to say he's overhyped. I think that all the overhyped players are English. He is a youngster, so of course he's going to be overhyped, but he's a very good player. And look, he can play very well in that pivot with Paul Pogba. You know, he plays mostly as a DM, but he can also play as a box-to-box. And, you know, to be, you know, what is he, 18 years of age, and for the last 2-3 seasons, he's played week in, week out in Ligue 1. And I know Ligue 1 isn't the Premier League, but Ligue 1's like the Championship. Jude Bellingham was playing week in, week out at the Championship. He's a very, very good player. I think CAMAVINGA is a very, very good player. My only issue with us signing CAMAVINGA is we know with Ollie that sometimes he just likes to play the players he knows. And I do worry McFred would play over CAMAVINGA because he knows McFred and they're more experienced. You know how Mata plays over Amad Diallo. I think off the bench, Amad Diallo offers more than Juan Mata, but Juan Mata's got a new one-year deal. We're going to ship Amad Diallo out on loan because Ollie trusts Juan Mata more than Amad Diallo. And I do worry if you sign CAMAVINGA, he's going to play McTominay over CAMAVINGA when we all know that CAMAVINGA is going to be a top player, and we all know that we've seen a lot of McTominay and he's not suited to the pivot. You know, I think Edouard CAMAVINGA would be an improvement on McTominay. My biggest fear is that Ollie would play McTominay over CAMAVINGA and all of that. Donny was class when he came in. Sucks he didn't get more game time. I don't believe that Ollie will sell Donny van der Beek this summer. It wouldn't make any sense because Donny hasn't raised his stock this year. Exactly. Look, I don't think Donny will go, but I worry if we sell him. I worry for the club if we sell him because Donny should not be leaving the club before Fred and McTominay. He's a quality player, but Donny needs to get more game time. Alice, do you think United should go for Douglas Luiz from Villa? Well, Douglas Luiz actually had a very, very good season for Aston Villa. He was actually one of their most important players. I think because they have players like McGinn and Grealish that sometimes play in midfield. I don't think Douglas Luiz gets a lot of the credit, but he was very, very good for Aston Villa. And you know what? Look, if there's CDMs I'd like more than Douglas Luiz, but this guy's what, 22, 23. I would generally take Douglas Luiz at Manchester United because we don't have a CDM. I know he's played a bit more of a box-to-box role this season, I'm pretty sure. But like, this is the situation with CDM, is like we only have Matic, who can't play every week because he's not an out and out CDM. So I would take pretty much any CDM at Manchester United. I would take Douglas Luiz. How are we going to play Van der Beek if we sign CAMAVINGA? Well, CAMAVINGA's more of a CDM defensive minded. I think you could have CAMAVINGA and Donny Van der Beek in a pivot, but Ollie will never do it. You know, Donny Van der Beek getting game time, you never see it. You never see it. And all of that. Mr. Randomizer says, this season we will win a trophy. I believe it, as if Ollie uses his brain. If Ollie gets his subs right, if Ollie doesn't play Lindelof and McFred, I think we'll definitely win a trophy. Watch Liverpool. We are going to get Marlon and Renato Sanchez. And do you think United will finish above us if we sign Koeman? It will send a message to other Big Six teams. Look, to be fair, I think Liverpool have a better squad than us. I think Liverpool have a better manager. But you never know. You know, this time a year ago, if someone told me Man United were going to finish above Liverpool, I wouldn't have believed you. But we might finish above Liverpool. But I think I'll do my Premier League predictions, and I will do a Premier League predictions video. But I'm going to wait until after the transfer window to do a Premier League predictions video. Fabrizio Romano says Manchester United and Real Madrid are in direct contact over Raphael Varane. The official bid from United will go in at the right moment. So he's saying Man United. Fabrizio Romano has just come out and said Man United and Real Madrid are in direct contact with Raphael Varane. But he said, we haven't made an official bid yet, but we'll put an official bid in at the right moment. Now, Fabrizio Romano said 2-3 days ago, this still isn't going to be done in the next few days. It's probably going to be done in a week or two if it gets done. So I think, you know, with the Raphael Varane news, we have a very, very strong interest. It's very, very likely to happen. But I think with Varane to Manchester United, we've got to give it a week. You know, we put that Sancho bid in, 10 days later we signed him. Let's give it 10 days. I think Varane is one of those, it could take a week to do. I think we like Varane, but, you know, he is on holiday. I think the Varane deal should take a week to do, and that's kind of what the reliable journalists like Fabrizio Romano have indicated. Any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat and all of that. Subscribe to the channel as well for daily Manchester United content. PSG is weaker than United next season, even lost Mbappe soon. PSG look like they're going to lose Mbappe. Apparently they're trying to hold Mbappe hostage. Apparently, like telling Mbappe you can't leave and trying to go against human rights with him. That's just what I've heard, but I don't know if that's true. If Man United signed Bellingham, do you think Sancho and Bellingham would be a good duo? Yes, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Jude Bellingham, but we're not going to sign Jude Bellingham for at least 2 seasons. We'll probably buy him for 100 million in 2 seasons' time from Dortmund, but Bellingham rejected us for Dortmund as well. And to be fair play to him because he's getting game time at Dortmund. Donny Van der Beek can't get game time ahead of McFred. What makes you think Bellingham would? So, yeah. Dortmund won't sell Bellingham after Sancho. Exactly. Goretzka and Sal contracts expiring next year. Who will be a good replacement if Pogba leaves? Yeah, I was actually going to talk about Sal Niguez in this video, by the way. So, who have they signed? Oh, they've signed DePaul. I think Atletico Madrid have signed DePaul, which means they are going to sell Sal this summer. And with Sal having 1 year left on his deal, I think United could get Sal for under £50 million. And I think what United are doing is it looks like we're going for players with 1 year left on their deal because we can get some very, very good players without having to pay more than 50 million for them. Because look, once we get Varane over the line, I think we'll be looking at Sal because we're always linked to Sal Niguez. And I think we'll be looking at CAMAVINGA because they'll both have 1 year left on their deal. They're both not going to renew a contract at their current club. And United can use that to get a very, very good player for a very, very reasonable price. So you know what? If we do go for Sal Niguez, like I generally wouldn't be too surprised personally myself. Any questions for me? Please do pop them down below in the live chat. I'm going to try and read out as many live chats as I can. Højbjerg is Man U's missing piece of midfield. I generally would have taken Højbjerg. Like this time a year ago, if someone said we'd get Højbjerg, I'd be like, no. But like watching him at Tottenham, I get Højbjerg. And George Kessler says the way Chelsea do business, I wouldn't be surprised if they snap up CR7. Ooh, you know what? I don't think Chelsea would be linked to CR7. I wouldn't like to see Ronaldo at Chelsea. But you know what? That would be a very, very Chelsea thing to do. That would be a very, very Chelsea thing to do. Look, Chelsea haven't signed anyone yet, and we do have to watch out for Chelsea in the transfer window because Chelsea are very, very good at getting business done and all of that. And I do worry that Chelsea could swoop in and get that Varane deal done. I think Chelsea could go sign Jules Koundé. I think Chelsea could go sign Ronaldo. Chelsea will sign who they want to sign most of the time, apart from they did want to sign Hakimi. I don't know why Hakimi chose PSG over Chelsea. Chelsea just won the Champions League. Why are you going to PSG? But you know, it is what it is. But you know what? Look, I don't think Ronaldo's going to come to Manchester United unless we fuck up the Varane deal or we just make a big fuck up or something. But yeah, it's possible. But you know what? I wouldn't want to see Ronaldo at Chelsea, but I actually do think that's possible. This guy says Manchester United and Real Madrid are in direct contact over Raphael Varane. The official bid from United will go in at the right moment. That's what Fabrizio Romano did just tweet. So yeah, thank you for putting that in the chat. Apparently Sal just a new 9-year deal from Atletico a few months ago. I do not know anything about that. I've heard that Sal had 1 year left. Hello, Alice. Where will James go to? Apparently, Daniel James could be off to Brighton. Brighton have registered an interest in Daniel James. For those of you who have just joined the live stream, the latest news is that Brighton could be going in for Daniel James. Daniel James could be set to leave now. Jadon Sancho is a Manchester United player. So I think Daniel James' departure is quite likely. He was rumoured to leave last summer. So Daniel James to Brighton is a news story coming out. Obviously, Man United, Raphael Varane apparently have agreed personal terms, but we know it won't be an issue. So even if we haven't agreed personal terms, we will. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed Man United and Real Madrid are in official talks. Man United have contacted Varane, so movement is happening on that deal. However, no official bid yet, and I think the Varane deal is something that will be done in a week rather than a couple of days. That's the latest news coming in. A few reports linking Manchester United to Cristiano Ronaldo. However, with his price tag being £35 million from Juventus, I think it's very, very unlikely United sign Ronaldo. But what I do want to talk about, and what I've written down to talk about in today's live stream, and I will read out some more live chats, don't you worry, it's the CDM situations. I don't want to talk about it too long, and then I want to talk about the England game. United apparently want to get a CDM, but it depends on the future of Paul Pogba, Donny van de Beek. Depends on the outs. You know, United signing CDM depends on the outs, but Daniel James to Leicester, Daniel James to Brighton. We could maybe do Daniel James plus 20 million for Basuma. Pretty good business. Jesse Lingard to West Ham. Jesse Lingard plus 50 million for Declan Rice. You know, CAMAVINGA got 1 year left on his deal. Could get him for 40 million pounds. I think United are in a strong position to get a CDM. And I really hope once we get this Varane over the line, we do go for a CDM. Because I think we're in one of the strongest positions we've ever been to sign a CDM in terms of swap deals, reducing the price. And there's a lot of good CDMs on the market that would improve us. Now, talking of improving, Luke Shaw. Let's talk about the England game quickly. I will talk about Man United most in this video, but Luke Shaw has been absolutely world class for England. He was my man of the match. Harry Kane won man of the match because he scored the goal, and the modern day football fans are so intelligent, just give it to who scores the goal. But Luke Shaw was the best player on the pitch for England last night. He was fucking fantastic. The game before, he was brilliant. The game before that, he was brilliant. He's got 3 assists, you know, and he's only played 4 games. Luke Shaw has been fucking fantastic for England. So he looks absolutely world class. Imagine Luke Shaw and Jack Grealish on that left-hand side. My only fear is Rashford has not looked at it and all of that. But looking at the Man United boys yesterday, Luke Shaw world class. Harry Maguire has turned into a really top playing ball centre back. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted a centre back that can play out from the back. And Harry Maguire looks a lot more confident playing for England, and he's a lot better playing out from the back, maybe because he gets protection from Declan Rice and McFred, and maybe because he plays with John Stones rather than Lindelof. But Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw on that left-hand side of the defence for England look absolutely fantastic. And, you know, Harry Maguire does provide a lot going forward for England, and Luke Shaw's provided a lot going forward for England. And I just think, get that world-class centre-back next to Harry Maguire, we can get the best out of him. Because John Stones ain't a world-class centre-back, but he's got a bit of pace. Maguire looks better next to John Stones than he does next to Lindelof. Luke Shaw's look fantastic. You know, we've got Sancho in for that added creativity. You get Pogba in the pivot. You know, Paul Pogba, absolutely fantastic in Euros. You know, Maguire, Luke Shaw look fantastic. Sancho looked really good, took on a few players. You know, we've got a lot of good players in good form right now. And I have to say, Luke Shaw was amazing. And I can't wait to see more of him because he's having a very, very good journey. Diego agrees, Luke Shaw, man of the match. He was absolutely brilliant and all of that. Pre-season works condition is a week away. This season should be grand for United fans. Yeah, pre-season will be very, very interesting. This guy says Rice and Fred would still be a good double pivot. Fred doing his best quality in the Brazil team when he plays beside a CDM. Yeah, look, I think Fred is our best CDM option after Matic. But Fred's been playing a not more advanced role, but he's been playing in the pivot with Casemiro. And because Casemiro does all the defensive duty, Fred's like the engine that kind of sweeps up and actually does move the ball forward a lot. And Fred, I've only watched 1 game, but then I've watched some clips and people have said Fred has looked really, really good for Brazil in the pivot. And I do think, I said this, it's really important we sign a CDM because McTominay would look better next to a CDM because McTominay's best role is box-to-box. Donny was fantastic when he played with Matic. We know Donny can work with a CDM. You get the best out of Paul Pogba with a CDM and you get the best out of Fred with a CDM. And look, Matic is 30. You've got no more years in Matic, but Fred will get better with a CDM. McTominay will get better with a CDM. Donny will get better with a CDM. And Pogba will get better with a CDM. The CDM will improve basically every player in our team. And with a CDM, we can play better football. So it's not like it just improves Pogba. But when we play with Donny and Matic, because Matic is a CDM, we play better football. You know, even though we lost to Leicester and we beat Wolves with our B team, we play better football with Donny and Matic in the pivot than with Fred. And it's really, really important that we get a CDM because it doesn't just improve players, but we can play better football. We don't have to watch this shit football that we have to see Man United do week in, week out, because we do play some shit football at times. Like, I think, you know, I think we can all admit, like, sometimes Man United just play some awful football. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football and all of that. Hit that like button, share this video, all of that. Daily Manchester United content on the channel. So if you're new to the channel, you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe for daily Manchester United transfer updates. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, hit that subscribe button. When pre-season starts, there'll be match reviews, match previews, watch-alongs, and all of that. So it's not, as well as transfer news, big news on the channel. So make sure you subscribe. Someone's just asked me what the latest is on Varane. Man United and Varane have apparently agreed personal terms, but if we haven't agreed personal terms, it's not an issue. Varane wants Man United. Varane wants to leave Real Madrid. Varane and Man United are in talks. ABC report personal terms have been agreed. Fabrizio Romano said that Manchester United will make a bid for Raphael Varane when the time is right. Lots of tier 1 sources saying Varane will leave Real Madrid. Real Madrid want to keep him, but they won't be able to keep him. And every indication is giving very strong realization that Man United could get Raphael Varane. And I said in yesterday's live stream, Man United have completely dropped their interest in Pau Torres and Jules Koundé, meaning that I think Man United must be pretty confident they're going to sign Varane if they've dropped their interest in Pau Torres and Jules Koundé. I think the fact that Varane's got 1 year left on his deal and he was happy to join Man United, we're happy to pay his wages, personal terms won't be an issue, means all we have to do to get Varane is agree on a price with Real Madrid, and Real Madrid won't want to lose him for nothing next year. So Real Madrid will have to lower that 70 million euro asking price because he's got 1 year left on his deal. So we're in a situation where United can very likely get Varane, and United are in the strong seat because of the 1 year left on Varane's deal. We don't have to compete with PSG anymore for Raphael Varane, as they have signed Ralph. So United are in the driving seat to get this Varane deal done, and maybe in a week's time Varane could be a Man United player, could be a done deal. We'll have to keep an eye on it, but very strong indication. And what I'm hearing right now from Tier 1 journalists is very likely that United will sign Varane. So that is sort of the situation on Varane. Is Pogba staying and Varane coming? I think Varane will come, but I'm not 100% sure. The deal is not done. Will Paul Pogba stay? The news is Man United are not going to sell Paul Pogba this summer, but we might risk losing on a free in a year's time. So Paul Pogba's likely to stay. It's very likely that Paul Pogba's going to be playing in a Man United shirt next season, but will he stay long term? That is the question that we don't know. Is he going to sign a new contract or not? I'm sure we all want him to sign a contract, but Paul Pogba may want to leave on a free in the summer. I think that's the situation. And all of that. 3 likes away from 100 likes, so please do hit that like button, and it means a lot. Alex B says, either way, Fred and Scott should not be starting for us. When you compare them to our best starting midfielders in recent memory, they are nowhere near. They're literally our Tom Cleverley and Anderson. You know, one's British, one's Brazilian as well. Look, I think Fred and Scott McTominay are good players, and I think they're good enough to get on our bench 100%. But one, they shouldn't be playing together. Look, I think, you know, Casemiro and Fred looks really good. Let's be honest. Fred and McTominay should not start together, okay? Fred can start a game, McTominay can start a game, but realistically, they're bench players. They just can't start together. Fred and Pogba in the pivot, I'm not going to complain, but we don't want to see Fred and McTominay in the pivot and all of that. I read somewhere that Dean Henderson will be #1 goalkeeper. I think that will be a bold move. I think it was Samuel Luckhurst. I think it was the Manchester Evening News that reported that Dean Henderson will be Manchester United's first choice goalkeeper this summer, and we will probably have to sign. We'll have to sell De Gea. Any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. I'm just going to take a quick drink of water, then I will read out some of the questions in the live chat. So just pop any questions in the live chat for me. Oh, interesting question here. Sancho is now a United player. Do you think Haaland will be a United player in the future? Look, to be fair, possible. You know, Haaland and Oli have a good relationship and all of that. Let's say we sign Varane, Sancho, and a CDM and we go win the league. When Haaland's got 60 million trigger on his contract, United could go in because Cavani leaves in a year's time. So in a year's time, United will be in for a striker, 100%. Haaland will be available for 60 million in a year's time because I think Dortmund won't sell him this summer. Even if Chelsea want him, Dortmund won't want to lose both Sancho and Haaland in the same summer. So I think Cavani goes, we could trigger that 60 million euro release clause on Haaland's contract. I just think Haaland would rather play for Chelsea, rather play for Man City, rather play for Real Madrid, rather play for PSG than Man United. I think, look, if we win the league, if this time next year we've won the league and we're going for a striker, or we did well in the Champions League, I think we could get Haaland because he's got a good relationship with Oli. He has a good relationship with Sancho. He might want to link up with Sancho again. I think, look, our chances of signing Haaland, because I'm sure we want to sign Haaland. Like, who wouldn't want to sign Haaland? And he'll be available for 60 million next summer, and we lose Cavani next summer, so we'll need a striker, unless Greenwood just molds into a god. I think we will go for Haaland, but Haaland will go to the club he wants to go to. And at the end of the day, I don't think he'd pick United. But if we did really well next season and we convinced Paul Pogba to stay, and we've got CAMAVINGA, we've got VARANE, and we're challenging for leagues and we're challenging for Champions Leagues, possibly. But I think Chelsea's the most likely option. Thank you very much, Diego, for the super chat. Congratulations, Alice, on getting over 10k views on yesterday's live stream. Keep doing well. Thank you very much. Keep going. Well done. Thank you very much for the super chat, Diego. It means a lot. All the support means a lot. And all of that. Question, Alice, do you think now United have copped Sancho, Haaland isn't leaving Dortmund this summer? Yeah, basically links to what I was saying earlier. I don't think Chelsea will get Haaland. I don't think Dortmund want to lose both. However, saying that, if Chelsea go 150 million for Haaland, they might go, well, we'll lose him for 60 million next summer. So, yeah. Anderson was better than Freddie, was part of the PL and Champions League winning side and spent most of his 8 years under Sir Alex Ferguson. Fred never lasted for us during those mega successful eras. Yeah, you could say that, to be fair. I did think Anderson was carried, but you know what I mean. I remember Anderson and Ronaldo when we won the Premier League, and Ronaldo was interviewing Anderson in like Portuguese and English. I'll be really mad if we pay anything more than 40 for Varane. Sick of us sucking dust. I think we can get Varane for 50 million euros, which is 40 million quid. And you know what's going to make me laugh is Man United could very likely sign Raphael Varane and Jadon Sancho for the same price Arsenal get Nicolas Pepe and Ben White for. And I just think that is absolutely hilarious, because Arsenal fans want to tell us we're wasting our money on Jadon Sancho when he costs the same as Nicolas Pepe. And Jadon Sancho is younger than Nicolas Pepe, better stats than Nicolas Pepe, and English, and a better player. And we're signing him for the same as we've signed your flop for. And you're going to sign Ben White for the same we've signed Raphael Varane, Champions League World Cup winner for. And Arsenal fans still want to banter us. Absolutely hilarious. Alice, unrelated question. Do you prefer R9 or Ronaldinho? Probably R9, just because he banged in those goals so much. But they were both fantastic players. I think Ronaldinho was nicer on the eye. He's more skillful, you know, if you get what I mean. But yeah, both top players. Ronaldo greater than Grealish for Sterling, says Lou Manu. I mean, look, I would get Grealish over Ronaldo. I love Ronaldo. I would sign Grealish in a heartbeat. I think he'd be an absolutely fantastic addition to the squad. But we're not going to get Grealish. Ronaldo's most likely with Grealish, Sterling, Ronaldo, but I don't think we'll get any of those players that you listed. Are we going for the English and French Man U team? Imagine Pogba and CAMAVINGA in a pivot, Varane at the back, Martial up top. I love the French. You know, they've got a lot of good French players out there. So maybe. Italy will beat England and United winning quadruple. You know what? I think it could be an England-Italy final. I think it could be an England-Italy final. Do you think we'll sign Varane? I'm 75% to sign him. I'm 75% that we'll sign Varane as well. You know, it's United. I don't want to say I'm any higher than 75% because I was 90% with Sancho last summer. We didn't sign Sancho last summer. We signed him this summer. I'm 75% with Varane because I'm used to getting disappointed, but everything is indicating to me that Varane to United is very, very likely. So I'm 75% that United could sign Varane. Do I want a new goalie? No. I'm happy with either De Gea playing or Dean Henderson playing. I think De Gea is better than Dean Henderson, but I think they're both top keepers. I do not care who starts. Who is going to win Copa America, Brazil or Argentina? I want Brazil to win because Fred's playing for Brazil. So, you know, I'm very like, if it's two teams that I don't support, whoever's got the most Man United players, I'll support. So, like, when Portugal played Hungary, I want Portugal to win because Bruno's playing. You know, when France played Switzerland, you know, as much as part of me wants Switzerland to win, I'm like Pogba's playing. You know, I just support who's got United players in, because at the end of the day, I support United 10 times more than I support England. You know, I love England. You know, they're a bit boring to watch, but I love to watch an Ukraine game. But United comes before international duty. You know, winning a Champions League better than winning a World Cup, in my opinion. But that's just how I am. I do see Varane happening, but look, I can't be 100% sure on it because it is Manchester United. I'm used to being disappointed. Rich Sports says, hi, Alice. Early days, but looking good so far regarding the transfer window. It is. Sancho's done. Varane could be next. And apparently after Varane, we do want to get CDM, but it could depend on the possible outs, who leaves, who comes in. But yeah, very, very good indications coming into the transfer window. Alex B says, Hendo's fall off at the end of the season was worrying. Good keeper, but I think he is overhyped by top Reds. I think, look at the English media overhyped him because he's English and all of that. But look, now Pickford's been so good for England. Look, Pickford ain't great for Everton, but Pickford's been world-class for England. I think one of the reasons the English media overhyped Dean Henderson is because they didn't want Pickford to play at the Euros. Now the Euros is done. Now Pickford's been one of our best players. Hasn't made any mistakes. I don't think they're going to be overhyping Dean Henderson as much because they'll be happy with Pickford starting. I think a little bit of the Dean Henderson overhype was English media not wanting Pickford to play. You know, that's my unpopular opinion if you want my thoughts. Ollie will play Maguire and Varane, never Varane and Lindelof. Yeah, it's going to be Maguire and Varane as our centre-back partnership next season. You know, Ollie won't bench Varane for Lindelof. If you sign Pau Torres, he could be benched for Lindelof. If you sign CRISTIANO Romano, he could be benched for Lindelof. If you sign Sven Botman, he could be benched for Lindelof. But you know, Lindelof, as much as Ollie loves Lindelof and likes to bench Bailly and Tuanzebe for Lindelof, and I think Bailly and Tuanzebe look better next to Maguire than Lindelof does, you know, Varane's won it all. Lindelof, I know Ollie loves you, but you ain't going to bench Varane. And I think that's really important why Varane's number one priority. Because I thought if we do sign Pau Torres, one, I don't think he's good enough. Two, Lindelof will probably bench. If we do sign Jules Koundé, I think he's brilliant. But because he's young, I'm worried Lindelof will bench him. With Varane, I can sit here and go, you know what? I know Ollie loves McFred. I know Ollie loves Lindelof, but he will not bench Lindelof. He will not bench Varane for Lindelof. And when you sign Varane, you don't need McFred because of Varane's pace. And as I said time and time again. Sign Trippier or keep Dalot. I keep Dalot, because Trippier is going to be 40 million euros, and I believe we won't sign Trippier now because Atletico Madrid are reportedly not going to budge on his asking price. Would I take Saint Maximin? I would take Saint Maximin, to be fair, but not anymore now we signed Sancho. But I do think he's a good player. I would have taken him 2 summers ago. Yes, and all of that. Sancho is cold. He's from my ends as well. SES, born and bred. Sad to see him go to United instead of the European champions. Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy we signed Sancho. You know, I think whoever signed Sancho would have been a good signing. There was a point where I did think Chelsea could get him, but yeah, I'm very, very happy we signed Sancho and all of that. Walker's been the weak link in the England team. Walker's been very, very poor. I think next international competition, Wan-Bissaka needs to be called up ahead of Walker because Trippier is going to be past it for the next international competition, and Walker's been poor, so they're going to both be in the 30s. You've got Trent and Reece James who are good going forward, but I think Wan-Bissaka should be called up to the England squad. Even if we win the Euros, I don't think Kyle Walker's good enough. I think he is the weak link. I think Wan-Bissaka might be sitting there thinking, should I change the nationalities? But I'd say Wan-Bissaka, hold on, because Trippier and Walker are 30. You know, is he going to pick Ayling over you? You never know with Southgate. But Southgate's a defensive manager, and Wan-Bissaka's so good defensively. And look at Luke Shaw. He was out of the England squad for years. So I think Wan-Bissaka was England's best right back last season. Look, is Wan-Bissaka England's best right back? Probably not, but if you look at the England right-backs last season, Trent didn't have a good season. Reece James was in and out of the Chelsea squad, but he did look good, to be fair. Kyle Walker didn't have that great of a season for City. You know, João Cancelo benched him. Wan-Bissaka was probably the most consistent England right-back last season. He didn't get called up, which is, you know what, even if we win the Euros, I feel like that I would be annoyed at Southgate for not even giving Wan-Bissaka a chance. Lindelof should stick to ice hockey. You're not good enough, says Ultra. And how come Rashford's so important for Ollie but not for Southgate? Rashford's playing with an injury, and I think Southgate knows that. And look, to be fair, I think Rashford's a quality player, but we need Rashford at his best. You know, Rashford lately has not been Rashford at his best. So I do like Marcus Rashford. I do think he's a top player. He's not Trashford. We've seen him play very, very well, but he's not been good for a while. And he's playing for England, so he's not getting that crucial rest. So I do worry about Rashford next season. But the good thing about Jadon Sancho is he can play on the left. And Martial will be back from injury, who can play on the left. So I do worry about Rashford, though. I think he's a terrible player. Man United would win the treble for all these players' joy. Look, if Man United sign Varane, we sign Sancho. If Man United sign Varane on top of Sancho, we keep Paul, we sign CAMAVINGA, we sign Ronaldo. Fair play, we should go for the treble, but very, very unlikely that would happen. You know, we don't have Sheikh Mansour in charge of us. Did you see the one-touch football Sancho did yesterday? Man, this kid is cold. His link up with Bruno and Pogba can be illegal, man. Exactly. And the thing is, intelligent players read intelligent players. Like player intelligence is so important. Daniel James is a good player, but he's not very intelligent. Whereas Juan Mata is very, very intelligent. You know, when Juan Mata and Bruno play together, they do these link-up passes. You know, Paul Pogba and Bruno have a good connection. Paul Pogba could have got 5 assists in the Euros if it wasn't for Mbappe, but Mbappe's an intelligent player. They have a good connection. And I do think Jadon Sancho can be the Mbappe. Paul Pogba does that ball in behind. I think their link-up play will be very, very good. Reece James has to be a starter in England. Reece James is the most complete right-back in the England team right now. You know what? If I was going to start any right-back for England tomorrow, I'd start Reece James. So I agree with it. Kyle Walker's not been impressive. I'd go Reece James, John Stones, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw. That is the back four. Pickford in goal because, you know, he's been good. And all of that. Do I think it's coming home? You know what? I believe. I think we'll get to the final. I think we'll beat Denmark. And it's Italy or Spain in the final. And I think we beat Spain not that long ago. I think we're capable of beating Italy. I think it will be hard to beat Italy, but I think we are capable of beating Italy. I think it'll be an England-Italy final. I think if we get Spain in the final, I'd be even more confident. But I want to get Italy in the final because I think it's such a big game. SM says, if we could somehow get Declan Rice for 55 million or less, it would be a solid sum for us. I agree, but we probably won't. Will Shaw continue his great form for Man United next season? Well, Shaw was pretty much consistent throughout the whole season. Shaw has been pretty consistent for us, and even the season before last, where he wasn't getting the credit he got, I always thought he was pretty consistent. So yeah, hopefully Shaw will be good for us. Mr. Randomizer says this could be a decent swap deal. Martial for Vinicius Jr. I completely disagree. I think Martial's levels ahead of Vinicius Jr. But fair enough. Vinicius Jr. has the potential to be a great player. But personally, I disagree. Mamadou says, did you see the one touch? Oh, I read that one out. But yeah, Sancho was fantastic. Shaw was fantastic. Maguire was fantastic. Do you think Telles next season will be better than this season? Probably, but Luke Shaw's so good that Telles is never going to get the game time to build up consistency, and Telles has just got to settle for being a backup and all of that. Question, do you prefer to use stats or eye test to judge ballers? I like a mix of both, I think eye test is the most telling, but you also need a player with good numbers. There's times where I'll watch a player have a good game like Jadon Sancho and he won't get the goal or assist. But goals win you games, and goal and assist win you games at the end of the day. Sometimes you need a player like Bruno that can have an absolute stinker, but he can do that one moment of magic, get that goal and win you a game. It's about winning games. But I think eye test is the best way to judge a player, but you do want a player that has decent numbers, because having decent numbers are players that win you games. Jack Grealish is a fantastic player, but only this season his numbers got up. Last season his numbers weren't as good. And when your numbers get up, you win games. But it's a mix of both, to be fair. But I think stats are a good indication. But I think you have to do an eye test on every player, because there's just so many players. You know what stat I really like that's not goals and assists? Chances created. Jack Grealish created the most chances in the Premier League per minute last season. Luke Shaw was the defender that created the most chances. How good have they been? How good are they to watch? I think chances created is the stat that you should really use to judge a player, I think. Well, in terms of like a creative sense and all of that. Any comments for me, please do let me know and all of that. But the summary on the news is there is a rumour that the Varane deal personal terms were agreed. Fabrizio Romano said that Man United have not made an official bid, but they will make a bid when the time is right. And, I think Varane to Manchester United is something we'll have a very strong indication on in the next week or so. But the latest is that Varane to Manchester United is looking very, very possible. Personal terms isn't an issue. Varane wants the deal to be done. United will try and make a bid for Varane probably in the next week. We'll see where it goes. I think that is the latest on Varane to Manchester United. I believe that, Ronaldo won't happen. I don't think we're going to get Ronaldo. I think we could get a CDM once we get this Varane deal over the line before pre-season, but it depends on outs and all of that. Do you think Grealish will leave Aston Villa? Do you think Mings will leave? I think Grealish could leave because they're going for Emi Buendia and they're willing to spend a lot of money. So I think Grealish will go to City. As much as I hate to say, I think Grealish will go to Manchester City. But thank you, everybody, for tuning into today's live stream. I'm going to end the live stream here. So if you haven't already, please do hit that like button, subscribe down below, and share this video. Any questions for me that I did not answer in today's live stream, just subscribe, put post notifications on, and put that question in tomorrow's live stream. And I'll try and answer any questions I couldn't answer in today's live stream in tomorrow's live stream. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Please do like, subscribe if you're new to the channel for daily Manchester United content and transfer news and all of that. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.